was like, this is so deep. This is so huge. And so if there's one thing I would say to those of you that are leaving now and God could be sending you anywhere on earth, I would say, please be students of the Word of God. This Word of God has washed me clean over the last 3 weeks. As I've gotten deeper and deeper, I feel like I'm in another world right now. I just see things from a different perspective because that's what the Word of God does. And maybe I was chasing things that were good, but it was to the neglect of a deep, deep study and meditation in the Word of God, of the only book that is alive. And I see it now. And ever since you guys came, I've been praying for your perseverance, because I've met too many people that went on mission trips when they were young and got so fired up. But then once they left that circle, they kind of lost it. And it actually got depressing to them. You know, it's like coming back from camp and going back to high school. And everyone looks at you like this freak because you're so in love with Jesus. And then it kind of sucks the life out of you. But a lot of times that's because we haven't grounded ourselves and anchored ourselves in these eternal truths, foundational truths that we keep going back to, where you suddenly go, oh no, wait a second. This was in the mind of the eternal God, and this was his plan, and he chose me in him before the foundation of the world. I'm going to be okay. And so I've been praying for this. You know, some of even having you guys out here is kind of going, gosh, how do we help them transition? Because too many have fallen away over the years, and it's driving us crazy, and it's breaking our hearts. It's kind of like, you know, a lot of guys, when they're in prison, they actually come to fall in love with Jesus, and they do real well, and they have an intimacy with Christ and a great fellowship. But then they come out of prison, and they don't have that fellowship anymore. And they don't know how to survive in the outside world. You know, they had their routine, you know, when they were locked up, and they had their fellowship, and they figured out how to survive in that system. But then when they come out to the world and they see all of this temptation and everything else, and they don't have that same routine, they just lose it. And so that was part of why we started like a halfway house type of discipleship thing in the city years ago, was like, gosh, let's help them transition. But I feel the same way about YWAM. Some of these young people, you know, you go and you know how to survive while you're locked up, you know, with your group of people and in that world. But then when you come out and suddenly you're facing this whole new world by yourself, there can be like this confusion without that same fellowship and that same core of relationships. So that's why this foundation of the Word of God is so, so important. You guys, these truths are so high and so deep. And again, I am not against experience. I'm not against new words from the Lord. I am not against counseling. But I'm just saying, if you don't have these deep, foundational, eternal truths at the core of your being, no amount of counseling is going to help you. You're going to be in counseling for the rest of your life, talking about the same old thing in circles. Get another PhD, get someone with 3 PhDs. It doesn't matter. Their words are not living and active.